What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a Chanel ranked list. This is the 4,000 subscriber special. I hope you guys enjoy. This list will include all the bottles of Chanel that I've owned in the past, and of course, bottles of Chanel that I currently own. But for all of these fragrances, I have worn them extensively, and I have, gathered much experience with all of these different fragrances. And we're going to rank them from, my personal preference of worst to best, or, lowest rank to highest rank, however you want to see it. Shout out Ramsey. He is a big inspiration for this video. I don't want to call it a family portrait because that's sort of his thing. And also his list is way more extensive than mine. I'll link it in the description, but we're going to be going over some of the most well-known Chanel fragrances all the way up to maybe some ones that you haven't heard too much about. So if you enjoy this type of content, if you want to stay up to date with everything, be sure to hit the sub button, hit the like button, and let me know in the comment section what your favorite Chanel fragrance is. Before we get into the list, a little brief history about the brand of Chanel. Chanel was, of course, founded by Gabrielle Coco Chanel in 1910, and the rest is history. It is one of the most opulent, elegant brands on the market today. In my opinion, it is the best remaining designer house. They really do seem to care about their perfumes. Even the older releases, they really make sure they reformulate them very well. And you'll see some of the older releases on this list. So without further ado, first, I just have to say, any full bottle I own, I absolutely love. And even for the bottles of fragrance that I don't own in this video that I'm going to be talking about, at one point, I loved them enough to own them. So none of these are bad fragrances in this video per se. However, the first one we're going to start off with is in the 14th position, perfumed by Jacques Polge in 2012. It's going to be Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. I don't have a bottle to show you, obviously, and for the first, I think 7 I won't because I don't own them anymore, but I did wear this fragrance extensively. And for me, I just remember sort of getting bored with it. It's a great daily fragrance. I know a lot of people love this fragrance and will probably be disappointed to see it this low on my list. But, don't get mad. This is my list. It doesn't have to be your list or anything. I remember it being sort of musky and peppery spicy in a way that I went nose blind to almost immediately. And I tried everything to try to really enjoy it. But ultimately, I ended up getting rid of it because I just really couldn't smell it. And it's the only Chanel fragrance I've had this happen with. I've tried the other Allures as well, but not as much as Allure Homme. I didn't own any of them, whereas I did own this one. And to me, it just was sort of generic, very sort of generic masculine smell that I don't really associate with the best Chanel releases, at least in my opinion. However, if you're looking for a fantastic daily driver, I do know that a lot of people love this one. So in the 14th spot, Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Moving up to the 13th spot, Bleu de Chanel. In any concentration, doesn't matter if it's Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, or the new, L'Exclusif Bleu de Chanel or something. I have owned the Eau de Toilette, EDP, and the Parfum. The original Bleu de Chanel was very important for me because it got me into fragrances. It was kind of like the thing that I remember getting me into perfume. So this particular perfume means a lot to me. It was originally released in 2010 in the Eau de Toilette concentration by Jacques Polge. And if I had to describe the scent profile, it's basically your stereotypical blue smelling shower gel masculine fragrance. It has that grapefruit. It has just a little tiny bit of incense. It has sandalwood, a bunch of ambroxan. It smells clean, fresh, versatile. I still really like it to this day. It just doesn't interest me that much anymore. And I do think I kind of got bored of it. But with that being said, again, it's one of the most influential fragrances of the past 15 years for sure. I believe it was the first blue fragrance, even before Dior Sauvage. It started this whole trend, super influential. So, number 13th spot, Bleu de Chanel in any concentration. A very important perfume for just modern trends in general. All right, moving on in number 12, Chanel Cuir de Russie, originally released in 1927 by Ernest Beau, but then re-released in the Les Exclusifs line by Jacques Polge in 2007. Cuir de Russie is a very old school fragrance. It is a Cuir de Russie, a Russian leather. So it's this sort of white floral, soapy French leather combination with birch tar that gives it a bit of smoky edge. It is a smoky, floral, very sort of clean in a way smelling French leather. And I have to be honest, for me, I found it supremely elegant, but I just didn't like it very much. I have to be honest. Like, it's one of those, it's in the appreciate category. When I owned it, I struggled with the modern formulation. Apparently, even though the modern formulation is still great, the older stuff is apparently darker and smokier and heavier and all that sort of stuff. I found it was a little bit bitter for my taste. And yeah, I just preferred other leathers, even though I thought it was beautiful and elegant and timeless. So number 12, I know it's going to shock some people because Cuir de Russie might be some people's absolute favorite Chanel, but it's not my favorite Chanel. All right, moving on. Number 11. This one I know a lot of people love. Actually, my dad wears it. It's going to be Platinum Egoiste, released in 1993 by Jacques Polge, famously kind of released because Egoiste was a flop. So Chanel was like, okay, we need to do something to sell this. So they made Platinum Egoiste. Completely different scent from the original Egoiste. It's this sort of metallic, sharp, airy, almost green, aromatic fougere. Okay, it's very professional. It's very put together. And it just smells clean. That's how I would describe it. To me, it was a little too sharp. I definitely prefer other fougeres. And I can't believe I'm going to say this because Chanel and quality are kind of hand in hand. But to me, Platinum Egoiste kind of smells a little bit synthetic to my nose. There's definitely something in there that's boosting it, which kind of detracts from the overall experience. However, I know a lot of people love this fragrance. In the air, it smells phenomenal. I do like when I smell it on my dad. And yeah, it's a fantastic, relatively affordable fougere that's very versatile. I think I prefer other fougeres though. All right, moving on. Number 10. I believe the second from the Les Exclusifs line. This is going to be Jersey in the 10th position. Originally released in 2011 by Jacques Polge in the Les Exclusifs collection. This is Chanel's take on lavender vanilla. And I believe the write-up for this fragrance actually has to do with jersey, the fabric, jersey fabric. And what they tried to do with this fragrance is they tried to take the traditionally masculine scent profile of lavender and vanilla, and they tried to make it way more unisex in a Chanel way. It's a very androgynous scent, in my opinion, overall. Extremely unisex. Perfectly unisex, actually. It takes all of the herbal aspects of lavender and sort of strips it away. It just so happens I like the herbal aspects of lavender. So for me, that is kind of a negative about this fragrance. However, it's one of the highest quality lavender scents I've come across. You can just tell that they spent money on the formula. It smells expensive. It smells chic and elegant and clean. The vanilla isn't too sweet. It's extremely well balanced. The thing that sort of detracted the thing that sort of made me sell it is I sort of prefer the more herbal, masculine leaning lavenders, and it was a little bit too musky, and honestly, it was kind of feminine leaning in my opinion. Even though it is unisex, I do think, in my personal opinion, it leans feminine. Beautiful lavender vanilla though. So if you're looking for a unisex lavender vanilla, check out Jersey. That takes our number 10 position. All right. Moving into the number 9 position, Chanel Paris Edimbourg. I forget the collection this is in, but I think it's called Eau de Chanel, something like that. Different style bottles. Paris Edimbourg, I believe tries to tell a story about Gabrielle Chanel having like an affair with the Duke of Edinburgh. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I'm pretty sure that's what this fragrance is based on. but this was released in 2020 by Olivier Polge. This reminds me of Platinum Egoiste in a way, but it's definitely different. So this is the sharp juniper woody cypress fragrance. It's definitely it's probably Chanel's most recent masculine leaning release, which is surprising because it released all the way back in 2020 and Bleu de Chanel released all the way back in 2010. So it's been a while since Chanel has released something definitively, masculine, but Paris Edinburgh is a beautiful, sharp juniper cypress woody fragrance. It's clean, has a citrusy component. For me, it got a little damp on my skin though. I don't know if there's vetiver in it, but to me, it wasn't my absolute favorite. I would still put it in actually one of the best recent Chanel releases, but there's just some little things about it that turned me off of it. So in the 9th position, Paris Edinburgh. Highly recommend that. If you like Platinum Egoiste, you're going to love Paris Edinburgh if you've never tried it. All right, and the final fragrance that I don't own that we're going to talk about is another less exclusive, this time released in 2007 by Jacques Polge and Christopher Sheldrake. This is Sycomore. Sycomore. It's the second best vetiver I've ever smelled, but it's not good enough for me to own, at least in my personal opinion. It's fantastic. It really is. But again, I struggle with that sort of damp, earthy quality of vetiver, and Sycomore is just ever so slightly too wet, too damp feeling. It's a beautiful masculine scent, though, in my opinion. It's coniferous, it's woody, it has this tobacco facet that gives it this sort of very slight smoky quality in combination with the vetiver. It's extremely well balanced. It does smell to me like walking in some sort of forest just after it rained. It does have that quality about it, but I think that wet, damp aspect about it puts me off of the fragrance, but it still comes in as, in my opinion, one of the best less exclusives. Even if I don't own it, I can definitely appreciate it. It is a beautiful scent. So that takes the 8th position, and now we're moving in to the full bottles. Okay, so these next 7, I'll be showing you the bottles that I own of them, and if they're on this full bottle list, I love them no matter what position they're in. So with that being said, in the 7th position, 31 Rue Cambon by Jacques Polge, released in 2007. This is a Chypre fragrance, okay? Think Guerlain Mitsuko, think Rochas Femme, think Amouage Jubilation 25 Woman. This is a Chypre done in Chanel style, though. It's very elegant, like supremely elegant. It has this amazing yellow floral thing about it. It's mossy, it's chic. It has this aldehydic sort of sparkle, that Chanel thing. There's a hint of sweetness in this scent profile. There's a slight fruity aspect. I'm not sure if that's coming from a fruit note or a floral. But I would say this is a beautiful aldehydic, fruity floral Chypre, done in the classic, very classy Chanel style. In my opinion, this does lean a little bit feminine, even though I'd consider this to be unisex, but nevertheless, it is still absolutely gorgeous. So that takes the 7th position. We're getting into some heavy hitters now, okay? This is some serious shit. In the 6th position, released in 2007, once again by Jacques Polge. This might surprise some people. This is Eau de Cologne. And it is what it is. It's an Eau de Cologne. This, in my opinion, is the best 30 minutes in perfumery, because it lasts 30 minutes. Oh my, wow. If you want a hyper realistic citrus fragrance, but you want the highest quality, only the best, Chanel Eau de Cologne is what you have to go for. And when you're buying this, you have to understand what you're buying. I own this because I love its uplifting, unbelievably uncompromising natural qualities, and I'm okay with the terrible longevity. This is a fragrance you spray, I'm not even kidding, 25 times, and it's gone by lunch, okay? It has the most beautiful lemon, sort of almost fruity citrus combination up top. It's a classic Eau de Cologne. It has aromatic touches, and it has this beautiful white musk base that's so clean. It's just an amazing citrusy Eau de Cologne. What a beautiful smell that is. Use as really as an aftershave. All right. Top 5. This was hard. Ranking the top 5 for me was extremely difficult. So if you've been enjoying this video so far, consider subscribing, drop a like, and let me know your top 5 Chanels in the comments section. But in the 5th position, one of Chanel's best sandalwoods, maybe that's a bit of a spoiler, but this is Chanel Bois de Chanel from their Les Exclusifs collection, again released in 2007 by Jacques Polge. Wow, I mean, this is sandalwood done in the Chanel style, much like 31 Rue Cambon is a chypre done in the Chanel style. So once again, you get this light, shimmering, aldehydic, clean quality, and under it is this amazing combination of florals. I think there's a lang-a-lang in this, beautiful yellow floral, almost like banana-y floral. And then there's the sandalwood, which is creamy, it's woody, it's very clean, it has this wonderful smooth texture. The blending here is incredible. The quality is incredible. I think this has real New Caledonian sandalwood in it. I mean, when Christopher Sheldrake is your master of materials at Chanel, you know you're going to get some good shit. Okay, so this is extremely high quality. One of my favorite sandalwood fragrances to wear in hotter weather. People compare this to Guerlain's Samsara. So if you're a fan of Samsara and you've never smelled Bois de Chanel, you should really get your nose on this. This is a beautiful, fresh, floral, creamy, woody sandalwood. People compare this to Egoiste. I think that's full of shit. I think they're completely different fragrances. And speaking of Egoiste, it's the number 4 position. So, released in 1990 by Jacques Polge and Francois Demachet. Francois Demachet, of course, moving on to Dior later, creating some of the best fragrances for Dior. This was famously a complete and total commercial failure. Nobody cared about Egoiste. But this is amazing when it comes to sandalwood. This is a bit of an older bottle. Cinnamon, rose, a deeper, richer, thicker sandalwood to my nose. It's warm, it's inviting, it's supremely elegant and versatile. It's unique. They still make it. It's still fantastic. One of the best value fragrances on the market, in my opinion. I think you can still buy this for about 140 bucks. Worth every penny. Of course, I'm not affiliated with Chanel in any way, but this kicks the shit out of, I'd say, 99% of perfumes getting released today. It's so underrated. It's so worth it. Just a fantastic take on sandalwood, but more on the warmer, spicier, rosy floral side. The rose in it isn't too like prominent, but it is definitely it's giving it lift. It rounds everything off, and you can definitely pick up that sort of slight pink velvety rose. But it doesn't come off as like feminine in any way, so don't be scared off by that. All right, Egoiste taking the 4th position. Top 3 now. Top 3 was hard. Top 3 I changed about I think 5 times before recording this video, but I'm pretty solid with it now. Okay. So in the 3rd position, we have one of my favorite patchouli fragrances of all time. And this is Chanel Coromandel. Released in 2007 by Jacques Polge and Christopher Sheldrake. Oh my god. And this is patchouli done in the Chanel style. So once again, beautiful shimmering aldehydes. It has this white chocolatey feel. Patchouli can be earthy and chocolatey. This strips away a lot of the musty, dank, dirtier aspects of patchouli, which I love, but this doesn't really have them. It takes those aspects away, and what you're left with is the texture of patchouli cleaned up, but somehow it still retains its recognizability as patchouli. It's a little ambery, it's vanillic, it's smooth, it's sweet, but not too sweet. And overall, it's just an intoxicating, almost hypnotic wear experience. If you think you hate patchouli, but you haven't smelled Coromandel, you need to smell Coromandel. This is one of the best Chanel's, in my opinion, one of the best Chanel Les Exclusifs. And it is just rich and opulent, decadent, and it rides so many lines so well. It's gourmand in a way, but it's not. It's sweet and elegant, but it's also versatile and approachable. It's just a wonderfully balanced fragrance. So that is Coromandel in the third position. Top two. All right. Deciding between 1 and 2 was impossible. These are basically sharing the number 1 spot, but for the sake of the video, I forced myself to decide. All right, in the number 2 position, this needs no introduction. This is one of the most famous Chanel's among frag heads. This is the one and only Chanel Antaeus Eau de Toilette. Released in 1981 by Jacques Polge and Francois de Manchet yet again. This is 80s masculine in a bottle. God, rugged, but in that Chanel way yet again. It's dirty, but it's not. It's dirty and clean at the same time. It's a chypre fragrance. So you start off with this fresher aromatic top with sage and spices. There's a beautiful rose note, but the star of the show here is really the leather and that sort of the slightly animalic leaning castoreum that gives it this beautiful, warm, rugged, masculine leather dry down. It's such a unique fragrance. I've smelled nothing that smells like this aside from Les Abstraits La Douleur, but that's more rose forward. This, to my nose, is more decisively spicy and leathery. This is one of those fragrances where you just sit here and you just think to yourself, like, this is really what perfume can be. Like, this is more than a perfume. This is just an absolute staple of perfumery. It's one of the best perfumes released, in my opinion, of the past 50, 60 years. I think it'll remain a legend forever. And hopefully Chanel never, ever discontinues it, because that would be a crime against humanity itself. All right, number 1, Chanel. Those of you that have been paying attention to the fragrances listed in this video will probably know what number 1 is, because there's a distinct lack of a very famous and recent Chanel. And this is none other than Le Lion de Chanel. Released in 2020 by Jacques Polge's son, Olivier Polge. This is just like, just when you thought amber fragrances as a genre were just done, overplayed. There's no innovation. You can't release a new amber fragrance that smells any different. Guess what? They released Le Lion de Chanel. What a masterpiece. And I don't use that word lightly. I don't throw that around, okay? Antaeus is a masterpiece, and Le Lion de Chanel is a masterpiece. I smell this and I don't even know what to say, because it's just unfucking believable. Okay? So, okay, what is Le Lion de Chanel? It's an amber fragrance, but it's so much more. You spray this, and frag heads among us will be immediately reminded of a very famous fragrance before Le Lion, which is, of course, Guerlain Shalimar. This is basically Chanel's ode to Shalimar, but it's in a much more rugged, sort of in your face sort of way. It's not as vanillic. You spray Le Lion and you're met with this beautiful lemony, citrusy top. Let's spray it. Let's spray it. So you're met with this beautiful overdose of citruses. But immediately you can tell there's something growling. And I think the name for this fragrance is outstanding. One of the best named fragrances in recent times, because there is something animalic and dirty and growling under this fragrance. It's musky. There's a huge labdanum note in this fragrance that's sort of sticky. It's sort of band-aidy. That's what they describe labdanum as sometimes. This sort of band-aidy labdanum with this beautiful, resinous, deep, rich amber, that musky, citrusy component. It's super powerful. It's super strong. But it manages to achieve something so difficult, and that is to make basically a unique amber fragrance that isn't redundant to really anything else on the market. And for that alone, Chanel Le Lion is impressive, but it's just, this is such a staple fragrance for me, so much so that I sold my 75 ml and I bought a 200 ml, which you can see. This to me means, it means so much because I really associate this with a lot of recent winters and a lot of recent memories during those winters. So it's cuddly in a way, it's inviting in a way, but it's also rugged. It's rugged and not to be like messed with in a way. It's a decisive fragrance that really knows what it is. And you know, in a world where perfume releases year by year are getting more and more, I would say, boring and repetitive, Le Lion de Chanel does not disappoint. Not only one of the best releases in the past 6 years, probably one of the best releases in the past, quarter century, in my opinion. And that's an opinion I've heard many other people say, and I completely agree. I think it's the best Chanel released probably since Antaeus. All right. There we go. That is the Chanel family portrait, the Chanel ranked list, whatever I want to call this video. I can't stop smelling Le Lion. I'm going to enter like a hypnotic trance state. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm ranking my Amouage collection of, at this point, 33 fragrances at 5,000 subs. I'm going to be ranking my Serge Lutens fragrance collection eventually as well. And of course, many more fragrance reviews, weekly rotations, unboxings, all sorts of stuff coming your way. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your favorite Chanels in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video.